Hi everyone, Metal Breakdown here. So welcome back for another episode of the podcast, episode number 2 this time around. And in this episode, we'll have a question to answer, and it's about the band Trivium. They're really getting bigger and bigger in the past few years, especially since the release of The Sin and the Sentence back in 2017. They really gained a lot of popularity with that album, but if you're a long-time Trivium fan, you know that they had the popularity way before, like 12 years prior to that. So in this podcast, we'll talk about all of this, talking about Trivium in the early days of the band until now, and at the end of it, we will be able to answer the question of this podcast to find out if Trivium will be able to headline Download Festival in the United Kingdom, which is most likely the biggest rock and metal festival in the world. So I thought it could be interesting to talk about that today. But first of all, I said that this Q&A podcast would happen each Monday. And the first time I did it, it was on a Tuesday. After that, I said, we will probably do one every Monday or every Tuesday. I missed last week. It's just an exception. I promise you guys to do one every week from now on. It's just a rough patch for me right now in life. Really depressive week, so I had to skip last week just because I was not feeling well. Again, mainly because of that breakup that occurred in July, but I'm getting back on track. I'm really working on myself a lot, so I'll try to not miss the podcast ever again. And by the way, thanks a lot to everyone who watched the first one. I think now it's at 200 views. That's not that much, but it's better than nothing, and I'm really grateful to everyone who asked some questions as well. This was not a question that was asked, the one that I'm answering today, because we still have a pretty small amount of question. But I'm keeping them, and I might use them for a podcast eventually. So right now, if you have any metal related question, it can be about me saying which song is my favorite song between two songs, my favorite songs about a band, comparing two bands together, comparing two albums. It can really be about anything you want. Just ask me right now in the comment section, and your question could be picked for next week's episode for Metal Breakdowns Q&A podcast episode number 3 that will air next Monday, most likely, unless it's Tuesday. I'm not sure yet, but next week for sure. Anyway, now let's jump right into the subject of this week's episode. So, at first, Trivium was a really small band in Florida with young teenager. I think that Matt Heffy, the lead singer, was like 13 when he joined the band, so it was probably not that serious at first, but they eventually recorded the debut album Ember to Inferno, which I don't think made them really popular, or maybe in the US they gained some notoriety with it. I'm still not sure. I did not do some research on Ember to Inferno, but I don't think it did anything that big for them. It's really when they put out Ascendancy that they truly gain like some huge popularity, and that they kind of became the band that they are today. Yeah, they were still so young. I think Matt was like 17 or 19 back then. So super young. And yeah, they were not expecting that amount of success, especially with a second album. So that was really huge for them. And some of their biggest songs are from that album, even these days. So it's incredible when you think about it. So I remember a story Matt told. I think it was on a podcast or something. while going to download 2005, they were main stage and pretty high on the bill, by the way. If you're kind of new to Trivium, maybe now seeing them on the poster of Download Pretty High, you would like, oh, their popularity is finally kicking off. But look back in 2000, oh, no, it's not 2005, it's 2006, and they were really high, playing just before Metallica and Korn, and playing over Avenged Sevenfold, Stone Sour, and Alice in Chains, and Arch Enemy. Now, Avenged Sevenfold headlined Download twice, and back in 2006, Trivium was playing above them. So, yeah, I think Matafee was not really expecting anything when they played that year, but everyone came to their set. It was huge, and I think he was high on drugs, maybe cocaine or something like that. I don't really remember, but it did not really affect him, and he was able to perform really well despite that. But he said after the set, he was like, oh, this could have been like the end of my career, because if he had fucked up during that set, people would not have been pleased with that. So he said to himself, from now on, I'll take that more seriously. So yeah, he was not new to touring, because I think he even left high school or did a tour during the last year of high school, so he was used to it. But to have that big of a crowd in front of him probably blew him away, and I can understand that. It's absolutely crazy. So after that, you would have thought that Trivium were set to be one of the next downloaded liner if their popularity would continue to rise like it did in the first few years of the band. But then an album came out and kind of destroyed the momentum that they had, at least in the UK and probably in the US as well. Because yeah, after that they decided to do a completely different album, because yeah, Ascendancy was more metalcore, but the album that came out after that, The Crusade, is a straight up trash metal album. Maybe they were trying to do an album and be more like Metallica, because I know that it's Matafee's favorite band, so maybe it was aiming for that. But that's not what the fan wanted to hear, and the reception to that album was really fucking bad. So they really blew it. It was a huge fuck up for them, because after that, they dropped in the bills for the festival and everything. And yeah, a lot of things happened. So the album that came out right after The Crusade was Shogun, an album that came out in 2008. And it's a masterpiece, my favorite album by the band. So I think that maybe if Trivium would have released Shogun right after Ascendancy instead of The Crusade, they could have already headlined Download. I'm not too sure. It's a big what if, and we will never be able to find out, because yeah, Shogun is way more progressive than Ascendancy, so maybe some fans would have not liked that neither, but I think it would have worked better as a follow-up to Ascendancy than The Crusade did. It's more similar than Ascendancy, even though it's not a straight up metalcore album like Ascendancy is, but yeah, I think it would have worked better. So yeah, a lot of fans love this album to death, but after The Crusade, they already took a big step down, so it took them years to kind of get back to where they are right now. Because yeah, after that they released In Waves. It worked pretty well for them, I think, because In Waves is one of their most famous song, if not the biggest song they have. Most of the time they close the show with it, and it's just absolute madness. By the way, I cannot wait to see them again live. I travel a lot to see them in the past few years. I saw them for the first time after the release of The Sin and the Sentence in 2017. And I saw 4 shows in 4 different cities: Montreal, Orlando in Florida, Columbus, Ohio, and in Chicago, Illinois. So yeah, that's a lot of traveling, but it's worth every time because they're so fucking good at what they're doing. Anyway, yeah, after that, they released the album Vengeance Falls in 2013, I think. Either 2013 or 2012, but I think it's 13. And it's with that album that I discovered Trivium, because before 2013, I was not a fan, not because I did not like what they put out, just because I did not know them. And with Vengeance Falls, it's not their best album, but I still love it a lot, to be honest. Some really great songs on it. Yeah, some songs sounds a bit like Disturbed because it was produced by David Draiman, who is the lead singer of Disturbed, but still sounds like Trivium for most of it, and some of the songs are fucking awesome. I just wish there would be more screams on it, more unclean vocals, but it's still fine the way it is, and I really appreciate it. After that, they put out Silence in the Snow, which is an album with only clean vocals because Matt had problems back then. He injured some vocal cords during the Vengeance Falls tour, I think at the end of the tour, so he had to do only clean for an entire album cycle. It's still a pretty good album, more like what Avenged Sevenfold did with Hail to the King, but I don't think that's what really gave them a lot of success, even though they have a super successful song from it, which is called Until the World Goes Cold. But in my opinion, it's really in 2017 when they released The Sin and the Sentence that they kind of got back to the level they had in 2005, 2006 with Ascendancy. So now, Trivium will release a new album probably early in 2020 or spring 2020, and that's probably one of the most important albums they'll ever release in their career because it could change everything. After that, if we take a look at Download in 2014 when Avenged was headlining with Linkin Park and Aerosmith, Trivium was pretty low on the bill, but after that, when they came back last year, I think in 2018, they were pretty fucking high on the bill, and that was really impressive. Almost sub-headliner, almost at the position they had in 2006, so to go even higher, they need to put out another crazy masterpiece like The Sin and the Sentence was. That's the only way to go. Do I think it will happen? Maybe not next time they do Download Festival. They'll probably do it, I would say, in 2021. Will they headline Download then? I don't think so, but if the album is a fucking huge success, they could have the sub-headliner spot, which would be massive for them. And after that, in maybe 2023, 2024, if they continue to put out great songs and be a fucking incredible band like they are right now, then they could have the Download headliner spot. I really wish them to have that. One of my favorite band, indeed my second favorite band out there. I wish them the best. They're all so fucking nice. I've met them twice and they're crazy good. So I truly wish them the best for that. But if Trivium ever headline Download Festival, I would say it will be in like 5 or 6 years, not before that, and they'll do at least Download one more time in between. So yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the podcast. It's only the second one, but I don't know, I was just truly in my zone, truly speaking. I did not even look at the length of it. Now I see that I'm a bit over 14 minutes, so it will be like I wanted it to be, around 15 minutes. When I do podcasts alone, that's what I'll be aiming for, and when I'll have some guests, either some friends, some of you guys that want to participate, or really anyone, maybe a celebrity one day, that would be so fucking sick. We never know. Then when I'll have someone on the podcast, we'll do longer ones. But for now, it will look pretty much like this. So don't forget to ask your questions. Just do it down below. And I'll put the Amazon affiliate links for the vinyl and the CD of The Sin and the Sentence. If you want to purchase it and you don't have it already, just use my link. It will be really beneficial both for me and for Trivium, so make sure to do it if you have some money sometime and that you want to support both me and Trivium. So I'll end it right here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. You can even leave a like on the video and comments. I think it could help this podcast get more exposure. That's it, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you all next time. Take care.